Afternoon, Zinga. Well, we are outside Rocklands Villas flats, which are owned by the SABC. These were part of the 26 flats that were due to be on auction of the SABC, but this particular flat, we are told it was interdicted, so it's no longer going on sale because the residents came here. These residents are claiming to be representing people from over 30 communities and townships around here in Cape Town. They came here in the morning. My excuse as well, my dress sense, because I came here, I was told I was going to be filming. So I was here, I was filming. It started very nice and slowly, and then it got intense. And Metro Police were here earlier on. South African Police Services Police were here earlier on, but they had to call in the assistance of POPs to come and also help them, that POPs unit, to come and help them to try and evict people who did occupy and got inside here. They are saying, of course, they want the SABC, since it's the state-owned entity, not to sell this building, but rather to give this building at low cost value to people who work around here in these communities, so that at affordable rates, so that they can be able to afford and also live close by to their communities. But I will try and stand back and try to see if I can get some of the community members who were here, who were speaking to earlier on, Zinga, who might be able to elaborate for us as to what is their grievance. My good sir, we spoke to you earlier on, and one of the leaders who are live now on SABC. Please tell us what is happening here and what was your intent of getting here earlier on today.
So here are residents from across Khayelitsha, from all townships of Cape Town, because this building is being sold through an auction, and the residents are coming here to say there can never be a sale of a public land in a public building in the middle of a housing crisis when people are living in precarious accommodations. And we are saying that we want the sale to be stopped, and we want all spheres of government to engage on the issues that these residents are facing in the areas that they're staying in.
Okay. And also now we are seeing there is a commotion between you and the policemen. We understand that you did get inside. If occupy is the right way to put it, you were inside, and there was also like engagement between you and the police, and you could not find a settlement, a consensus. What happened in there between you and the police?
So the police are saying here that the occupation is illegal, and that one, you must be arrested. And we're explaining to them that according to our constitution, you have got the right to protest, and we're using the occupation as means of protesting. And we're here so that we can be acknowledged, so that we can be seen, so that our pain that's mostly hidden from the public can be known, that we are struggling with accommodation in places like Delft, Khayelitsha, Sea Point. There are residents that have stayed here for years who have never gotten an acknowledgement from our government in terms of having a plan to accommodate them in the inner city of Cape Town. The police are now being violent. There are male officers that are manhandling a woman that's resisting and sitting down, and we're explaining to them the national instructions in terms of their job. We're explaining to them the PI Act in terms of how one obtains an interdict in case of an eviction. This is the gentleman that has been giving instructions to them and forcefully evicting people and removing them from the site.
Okay. And also, since this is a housing issue, have you tried to engage maybe with the human settlements, with the government around here, and how are you planning to move this forward?
These residents are not the first time. It's not the first time for them to be engaging government on these issues. These issues are known by local government. Den Plateau has been engaged for a number of various times by these community members. The provincial government, Alan Windy, has also been engaged in terms of their constitutional obligation to make sure that they provide access to adequate housing to these comrades that are here. The national government also must realize that the selling of all of these properties is not addressing inequality that we're seeing in our country. That in the middle of a housing crisis in a city that has got a deep and a violent history of dispossession, buildings such as this could be used as a way of transforming our city and as a way of undoing the legacy of apartheid by bringing black people to the inner city and providing well-located housing for them.
Oh, okay. Do you also think this is the right way maybe to go about it, since this is property is owned by the SABC and you are occupying and getting inside it? Do you think this is the proper procedures and the method to also address this issue of housing here in Cape Town?
In South Africa, if you try and engage our government, they will not respond to you. These communities have been handing over memorandums year after year, and they have not still been heard. They have not been acknowledged. The communities they're living in have no basic services. The communities they live in are not safe. It's the first time that we're seeing so much police. In Khayelitsha, there were 13 people that were killed on Saturday and died, and we didn't see any police that were visible in our areas. And now in white areas such as Sea Point, we see heavy police backup. That's here to only remove and violate people's rights that are protesting here. And we're saying it's a huge disappointment. In the middle of everything that's happening in Kailicha, black people are being criminalized for protesting. And that's a constitutional right that's guaranteed in our constitution.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I think some of the ladies are also very angry at the police. As you are engaging the police, what are you engaging the police on?
Siqhamisana ngento babambe abantu abathathu whereas besisiphakathi sonke so ngosifuna basithathe sonke bayasithatha bangathatha abantu abathathu qha.
And what's their reasoning for arresting some of you and not arresting all of you if this is an illegal occupation?
Bayichazi kalo bathi basingene illegal apha suppose basiyaphuma so ke kwaba yakhaya bafuna uphuma nathi besingafuna uphuma phofu but basiphakamisa.
Okay. And also mhlambi le issue ibonakala ngathi deep seated. There's a reason why nisuke phana naza apha mhlawumbe kutheni wena olapha namhlanje nizofuna indawo uhlala.
It's because asinazo indawo zohlala elokishini. Yeah, and ke ngoku asinazo ne basic services phaya amanzi toilets and asikho safe noba safe. Yeah.
Well, Nzinga, it's some of the residents just trying to explain their reasons, saying of course in their communities they do not have basic services, hence they are coming here to force government to acknowledge them as residents. So I see one of the guys wants to speak here. But good say you also here to occupy. What is happening?
Igama lami ngathi ngosifana mndunguski suka from Khayelitsha eqanduqani. Mkhulu wami imbangi basiza abathina sizi different occupation. Sidibene sisonke ngembangi ba asina services, basic services, asina manzi, asina toilets, asina anything. So sivile ukuthi le building lena bayayithengisa so sizo occupy le building kuba sibafuna bas service kwindawo ehlala kuzo. Ngoko bayasikhupha apha without ilenuka iphepha elisuka ecourt libantu bamass i-Victoria bayasikhupha basibamba ngezixhandi. So problem yethu leyo.
Okay. Kuthiwa ezinye ziqhubekekile auction kodwa le iye yamisa emva kwala interdict. Mhlawumbe ithemba lenu ngokulithini nje?
Asindawo bra kule ndawo singekaphindile impendulo zethu ngoba into esifunayo thina sifuna usatisfya ugovernment akasikhathalelanga apha Western Cape akasihoyanga uyasicala usoko maKhayelitsha i-informal settlements zethu ba asinamanzi asina nothing ba so asihamba abasinge nazi izindlu zethu lapha indawo yethu le si-occupyile le ndawo silapha kule ndawo ngo sizohamba xa besichazele ba ithini way forward ngendawo zethu sihlala kuzo apho sisuka khona.
Okay, sisom namhlanje kubonakala ngathi nawo nomsindo ufuna uthetha
ndifuna uthetha but indlela abastritha ngayo lamapolisa ngokungathi umthetho ngowabo wodwa although nathi sinawo umthetho sinamalungelo awo ba sihlala apha lo une problem nathi. I know he's gonna arrest us if he want to. If you want to arrest us, he's gonna arrest us. It's fine.
Benisengene ngaphakathi bisithini plan yenu?
Besingenile ngaphakathi xa sifuna indawo yohlala sina ndawo zohlala. Asina ndawo zohlala sihlala ematyotyombeni is like asina basic services. Okwesibini okugqibela yazi ayibhuzi andifuna uthetha gqithi because of bayasicaphukisa because of basibe le ndawo iyathengiswa ngone although beyazi ukuthi abantu abamnyama abanandawo zohlala wena ithi ababi ngabantu abamhlophe bodwa bebezofuna indawo apha bebezawuyeka abahlale apha because of sisithi silelibala sililo.
I'll speak to you just now again. Well, Zinga, it seems like this is a deep-seated problem of service delivery and also the spatial planning here in Cape Town because most people that we speak to, they say they live in informal settlement they live in informal settlement, they live in squalors outside of Cape Town. They're saying they have been pushed to the peripheries of Cape Town. They are not afforded adequate services and also sufficient and humane conditions to live in. They do not have basic service delivery where they are staying. They do not have water. They do not have ablution facilities. So their only way to express their pain is to come and occupy some of these buildings because they are saying the SABC building is a state-owned entity building. So instead of it being sold, it must be afforded to some of those who cannot afford at very affordable rates so they can come and also stay closer to where they work because of what is happening in the townships that they are living in. I'll see if I can also call in one of the members here. I was speaking to you earlier on and you did say this is a long-standing issue which started as far as back as 1996 when people started occupying this building. And also, Nzinga, just to note, this building is unoccupied for 20 years. Some of the police are coming into there now. I see they might be using some excessive force. We will look out for that as well, Nzinga. Please explain to us about your engagement here today.
So we arrived here in the morning with the aim of stopping the auction that is happening in Joburg. Apparently it's being stopped. That's a small victory for us, but we are heading for another plan, which is the plan for recognition of these people, because the first line of defense for COVID-19 is to have a home and to stay at home, wash your hands and have a toilet. And those things are not happening in informal settlements around the Western Cape, because those people who are living in those areas are identified or highlighted as illegal occupants. So the reason why here we're saying stop that. If you're not going to recognize us from the outskirts of the Western Cape, then upgrade this building for affordable houses. That's what is happening right now here. And the experience that we've got from the police, it's the same in South Africa. The police are treating black bodies, they criminalize black bodies basically in South Africa. The response into a peaceful protest shouldn't have been this way. We try to engage them, we try to tell them their demands. We've also told them, we've written a memorandum to the board of the SABC to say they should stop this auction, and the national government should change this building to be for affordable housing for people who work here in Sea Point, because it can't be in 2021 in South Africa where domestic workers have to travel early in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, to come and wash kids of white people here in Sea Point, whereas they leave their kids behind in townships that are not safe, townships that don't have adequate services like water and sanitation. How am I going to wash hands if I don't have water in where I live? How come I'm going to be identified as South African resident if I'm not recognized even by the city?
It seems there's a huge housing issue here in Cape Town, and also you told me earlier on that this is not the only building that you are concerned about, and this is the issue that you've been trying to engage the government on.
Yeah. And we are aware that this is not the only building that is being auctioned. There are 26 buildings that is being auctioned of the SABC nationally. The three, most of them are in the Northern Cape, and the one farm is in Limpopo, and two are in Gauteng. This one is being stopped, and we're aware of that. You can't.
I was also talking about the occupation of buildings here in Cape.
Yeah. So it's not the only one. There's a building in Waterfront. It's called the American Sata House. That is occupied by the Reclaim the City movement. Those people who live there don't have basic services like water. They don't have electricity because they are aligned as illegal occupants. There's another one in Woodstock that is experiencing the same thing. So you can't be forcing people to live in the outskirts of Sea Point, whereas they work here and they come here daily. And transport is expensive. We have no trains even now in Cape Town. So it's expensive to come down and work in Sea Point every day.
It also seems like the format of occupying is not the very solution of this problem. How are you looking for the long-term solution to try and really engage government to really recognize you, as you say, as legal occupants, so that they can also afford you the adequate service delivery?
So part of the things we're trying to explain to the police is that we want an urgent council meeting in the Western Cape. Because it's the ward councillors who are leading us in our communities who are saying that you are illegal occupants in Khayelitsha, who are illegal occupants in Delft. We're saying an urgent council meeting should be set. 10 Plato, Alan Wino should sit together and identify these people as Cape Town or Western Cape residents, and for this building to be built for affordable houses. That's the first step. And then if we are recognized as citizens in the Western Cape and people who own houses in Khayelitsha, even here, then you can provide basic services. If you can't recognize me in my city, then you can't afford to come with basic services. And there's a 4 billion that has been passed to upgrade EVNA in Waterfront. That money should have done an upgrading in informal settlements in the Western Cape, but that money is being prioritized for white privilege and whiteness in this city.
If this council doesn't sit, how are you looking then to really make sure that take your struggle forward?
We will regroup. We are here, we'll regroup, we'll talk a way forward. This is a protest, a peaceful one. We're going to engage. Also the police, it can't come with a decision standing here. All of these communities have to have voice and voice out what do they want to move forward. We've been moved out. What is the next step? We'll discuss that here.
And also some of these protests end up being a battle between the residents and the police. Do you think really this is the war between residents and police?
I don't know, because the police have been trained to. It has to do with the black bodies. During level 3 of the lockdown, white people were protesting next to the beach in Kemp's Bay. no gunshot, no tear gas. During level 5, we were protesting in Khayelitsha, in Ethembeni. We were shot by law enforcement and the police. The response is not the same when it comes to black people in terms of police visibility. Police are supposed to be here to protect us in this protest that we are having now. But they are not doing that because what? Because we are black in this country. And that is the response to black people. So it will be the clash between the police and the residents because police are treating black people different than the white people who are protesters in the country. It seems like we have a law that doesn't apply equally in this country.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Well, Zinga, if I may just step out a bit of the picture, just for you to see some of the residents who are here carrying their placards. Some of those are saying occupy sick point. Some of those are saying we are not going anywhere here. We need basic services. So it tells you, and Zinga, like I said to you, it seems like this is a deeply entrenched situation. It's more than just the occupation of this SABC building, but rather it is more about the basic service delivery. It is more about the special planning in Cape Town. It is more about the allocation of people. They are complaining about discrimination and we're being pushed to the outskirts of the city and not being provided some of those basic service delivery. Some of the gentlemen that I was speaking to was saying to me that there's another building, a property which is occupied next to V&A waterfront with some of the residents, which was occupied 5 years ago, but still basic services are not being provided there because, as he says, they are called illegal occupants. So he's saying now some of their colleagues or some of their compatriots have been arrested. They are in a van. So he's saying they are going to regroup to see how they are going to take forward their struggle because they want a council to sit here in Cape Town to try and address some of their very fundamental issues which solely involve housing. These people are really complaining about housing in Cape Town. They are saying they are living in squalors, informal settlements. They do not have ablution facilities. They do not have water. So this is some of their plea, their way of showing that they want to be here, they want intervention, they want that council meeting to sit. They are saying they are going back to regroup and make sure that they will come back forward with another strategy that will ensure that they do have some of their grievances heard. And Zinga.
Athule Joka giving us an update from Cape Town there on an issue that seems to come up when it comes to apartheid spatial planning. Groups like Abahlali Basemjondolo and Ngifunukwazi in Cape Town in particular always litigating about the space and in particular that Sea Point area. We will follow that story and keep you updated. It's time for a short break. We'll have more news for you when we come back. Do stay with us.